Welcome, my friends. This is Maniacal Incorporated, and I hope that you will join me in some relaxation, some meditation as we calm ourselves. We should take guidance and inspiration from Moll Tolí. In the last episode, we saw he was challenged to a duel by Blahamach, which he lost, and with it lost the entire kingdom of Ireland. However, he's not stressed. He's calm. Possibly he's too stupid to understand just how bad things look at the moment, or maybe he knows more than all of us put together. The last episode ended with me making claims that I was going to start breaking truces, declaring war on people. I won't lie. There was a brief period of time there where I started looking around to see who could be assassinated. Maybe some close members of my family. Maybe my father. But there are easier ways. And we should never go for the most complicated thing. You can see that I've also started a befriend scheme against Geralt II, the new... what is he? The High Chieftain of Connacht. I had been thinking of ways of getting elected as High King of Ireland by befriending the electors. Like I said, there are easier ways to achieve what we want. So the plans to invade Leinster, they're called off. We're going to relax. We're going to take a look around. We're going to see what we can do over the next couple of months as we get our army back to capacity. We're at a grand total of 258 soldiers. We do, however, have substantial alliances to other members of our family, including Dear Papa, who we were at war with briefly there in the last episode. So there are things that we can do. Let's just calm down. Let's put our swords back in their scabbards for now. Let's calm down, and let's, at the very least, see out the year 973. Let's have a nice, calm Christmas. Here are some pop-ups and some people that we haven't seen in a while, and I won't lie, I didn't think we'd be ever seeing again. My spy master, who was also the wife and spy master to Flann Sinna, has come to us. She is certain that our acquaintance Asta, this would be Flann Sinna's daughter, is scheming against Kilna. Poor old Kilna. He's been having a rough time of it. A lot of people have been coming after him. I don't think we're going to go as far as executing her. Because she's insular, we'd get in trouble for that. So there's no point throwing her in jail. Kilna is not exactly the best. We've been trying to keep Kilna alive. I won't say we've been trying to keep him alive, but his father was a great knight. And of course, he was murdered by another knight. I think we'll just let the traitor be known. While we're here dealing with Asta, however, we'll let the traitor be known first of all. I'll just pause. And we'll take a look at her family. So these are her siblings through her father Flann Sinna. If you remember, it was complicated. There was a lot of kids. But some of them are basically her full siblings. With Flann Sinna and Astrid. And one of them, if we can find her there, she is Glod. And she is a woman of King Starkiller, the Metal King of Sweden. So here's somebody who jumped ship. I wonder, is she a concubine, or what exactly is the scenario? But she is in the court of the Metal King of Sweden, who's been causing a lot of trouble for us. And here is her son with our knight. So this was a knight of ours who we married her off to, and they had a son together, but she's now in the court of the Metal King of Sweden. She has betrayed us. Moll Tolí needs good men to serve him. He has put out the call for knights to come and aid him in the reclamation of what is rightfully his, and sadly, this is all we've gotten. So Constantine Line He's brave. He showed up, and what we're going to do is we're going to marry him off to... I have no idea who this is. Is this Flann Sinna's... It is. It's Flann Sinna's first child. His eldest child, if I'm correct. Orla. Who... Oh, God. She's had one child with her brother Cian, and she was married to the father of the knight that we were looking at a couple of seconds ago. He's not a knight. Kilna. She was married to his father, but he was murdered. Look, it's long. It's confusing. We're going to marry her off. There's a medium chance of children. Send proposal. Like I said in the last episode, we were challenged to a duel by Blochmach, who I didn't realise at the time was the son of Koning. And if you remember, Koning, his armies were hit by the massive Swedish force that landed in their conquest of Dunbar. He fought a holding action while we tried to bring in the rest of the armies, but he had his head ripped off. And no doubt, Blochmach, on receiving the news, was outraged at the incompetence and the lack of military skill shown by Moll Tolí, and in anger and in rage challenged him to a duel, which he won, but in the process rent the entire kingdom asunder. He was killed under mysterious circumstances, shortly after coming to power, 2 years after coming to power, and was replaced by our brother. Now, sadly, we don't have a claim to the Kingdom of Ireland, which is weird, so we can't actually fight him for that claim directly, which would be handy, because we'd be in a position to get an achievement. But as you can see, he's fighting 2 battles at the moment. One against Northumbria, which is at 0% war score, and 18% war score, or minus 18, against these guys who are too weak to actually siege the place down. We're going to give it 1 more month until the 8th of March, which is the anniversary of when we were deposed, and we are going to declare a war for the subjugation of the Kingdom of Ireland. So this is kind of what I had been worried about. The Kingdom of Ireland has gotten so weak that the vultures are circling. And our weakened cousin in Leinster has decided to declare war on the High King to take Fife. What we're going to have to do is we're going to have to decline that. We're going to lose some fame. This is the first battle in 10 years. This is the first battle that we will have to decline. And possibly that decision by Leinster is going to force our hand. And I think what we're going to have to do is pretty much begin the process of declaring war right now. We have a lot of people's claims that we could enforce. Brangen's claims, Cian's claims, our own wife's claims. What we will do is subjugate the High King and declare war. Now, the reason I've raised our forces in Desmond instead of on the Isle of Man, or in the Inner Hebrides, is the way that we can get all of our soldiers together. We are going to bring in Madman's company. And this company is controlled by Cugamna Mac Servertuch. And this is Servertuch, the last king of Scotland. And I actually got this pop-up a couple of episodes ago, and I didn't realise who they were talking about. His son, Donal. I got this pop-up, it said Donal has died, and I was like, who the hell is Donal? This, of course, is the man that educated, that trained our father, Cúchar Gamúr. He was captured by Grian Grafador. And forced to join our court, and Grian Grafador threw him into battle, forced him to raise Cúchar Gamúr, and was effectively grooming him to one day become the High King of Scotland. But those plans died with Cúchar Gamúr, or not with Cúchar Gamúr, they died with Grian Grafador. But, so, I think, is it his brother? Yep, it's Donald's brother is now going to aid us in the reclamation of Scotland and Ireland and all the other things we lost. And this is the reason that we got in mercenaries, because it's not just, it's complicated basically, but I forgot to point out that the King of Scotland, or the King of Ireland, I'm so confused because it's way up here, our brother is married to the Duchess, or the High Chiefess of Ulster, and she has joined in the war on his side, as you would expect. That's another reason that we raised our forces here, is that we can basically keep them on the one side. That's great. 17 troops have been raised in the Isle of Man. That's fantastic. I didn't realize that was going to happen. So that's another reason that we've gotten everybody down here. And what we're going to do, I think, is we should be in a position to start marching them up. We will start our march north just as we become known for our dedication to our faith. Moll, who is beginning to believe the stories that he is ordained by God to rule Ireland. High King Bran has taken our sister, his sister and our sister, Christina, captured her in Bamborough. So he has an army, he has a sizable army, 1,492 troops there, coming into Galloway. We might need to bring in some of our allies. We've made an interesting choice. We've invited Cúchaill, or I should say Clemens Mac Cúchaill of Ross. So his army is going to come in from the north. I'm not too sure they'll be able to make it across to us. It's entirely possible that after they win their battle there, that the combined Irish, Scottish / Ulster forces might come across to attack us. A couple of days ago, I should just check this first of all. Betrothed can marry, so this is a potential heir, Manya and Saddleberga. So we will send that proposal. A few days ago, somebody left a comment, Patrick Campbell, that they had, fair play to him, he binged 26 episodes of this series in 2 days, and he said greetings from Dúnanaul. We're going to wander up there and we're going to say hi to him. We're going to drop in and have a cup of tea, burn his house to the ground and steal all his money. What we might have to do instead is bring the army around and try to hit this one in Galloway before it does anything. I'm not too sure what we're going to do. To make matters even worse, the Inner Hebrides is suffering a peasant revolt at the moment. Like I said, Moll is beginning to believe the legends about him, that his father promised God that if he alleviated him from a toothache, that he would name his son in honour of Saint Tola, the patron saint of toothaches, and would support him for the High Kingship. Moll is known as a good insular, and I think with the path that we're going for the intrigue lifestyle, I think my dedication should be shouted from the towers. I think is something that he would go for. We could either spend piety for money, get pious liege. We don't have a lot of theocratic vassals at the moment, so I think we'll go with this one. Spend 50 piety and gain 150 prestige. Is that enough to knock us back down to... It is. It would knock us back down below the level that we're at the moment. You know what? We'll just go with... the priors are already in awe of me. So the Kingdom of Ireland, I don't know if you just saw them, they manoeuvred some troops south. I wouldn't be surprised if they're going to come around and start to siege down Desmond. We're going to see if we can siege down Ulster. So we've left Patrick alone. And we're going to see if we can meet up with the army of Dingwall afterwards. There's a lot happening at the moment. There's a lot of people moving in a lot of strange directions. Well, this is awkward. Bran has been captured in a different siege, in one of the numerous wars that he's involved in. I'm not too sure how that's going to affect him. I don't actually think that was Bran that was sieging down Galloway. It's just somebody that we were hostile to. So Bran has lost Ayrshire. And this is the reason that we came in, was to try to prevent this from happening. Was to prevent Bran from losing any more territory. And we did not succeed. We've accidentally moved in against Ulster. The battle was over before I actually had time to say anything. We're not really splitting the army. The armies were already split. Fife is almost sieged down by Cúcain Mháthair. We're bringing our actual army across into Galloway, and we're leaving our reinforcements, or our mercenaries, to siege down Ulster. And a lot of things have just happened. You inherited the High Chiefdom of Northumbria from High Chieftain Cúcain Mháthair, or Cúcarcha Mór. And there we see it at the bottom. He has died from complications related to giganticism. Cúcarcha Mór, who I think it is fair to call the uncrowned King of Ireland, has died. Here is what the British and Irish Isles look like at the moment. Because we have inherited Northumbria, it's come under our primary title of Man. We can see a bit of it as siege down at the moment. I know Northumbria was actually involved in a separate war for Ayrshire. I actually don't entirely know who has control of Ayrshire now. Has it been taken by the Swedes? It has. God damn them. Starkiller Face, the Metal King of Sweden, and there's his wife. Here's his concubine, Glad, one of Flann Sinna's children. And I was just thinking about this. Flann Sinna's children that are members of House Acra, or that are children of Astrid or Asta, they now have claims to the Kingdom of Ireland, substantial chunks of Scotland through their father, and through their mother's family, they have claims now pretty much to the Kingdom of England. They don't have direct claims, but they, the Acra family, still sits as the ruling dynasty in England. I think it's going to stay there should anything happen. So what must Glad be doing? Glad sees herself possibly as a ruler of this entire region, but we're not dealing with Glad at the moment. We're dealing with High Chieftain Cúcarcha Mór. Our brother, Grian Grafador II, has become the head of the house. Cúcarcha Mór inherited that title from his father. He became the head of the dynasty and the head of the house on his father's death, and ruled over 5 High Kings. Ruled over Ruacán, over Flann Sinna, over his son Moltoli, over Blachmach, and over his other son Bran. His grandfather was High King of Ireland, his father was High King of Ireland, his brother was High King of Scotland, and 2 of his sons have reigned as High Kings of Ireland. He truly is Rí Dómhna. We almost secured his succession. We almost secured his succession to succeed Flann Sinna, but we were forcing him to vote for himself, and when that 5-year hook was up, he changed his vote to Moltoli. Has caused considerable problems. And after it all, he has died at 57 years of age of complications related to giganticism. A giant figure, surely in the annals of Irish history. So here's what's going on over there. Northumbria declared war on the High King of Ireland for Fife. Sweden seem to have done the same. They took Fife. And now this guy has continued the war with his 49 troops against 10,000 belonging to the Swedish. I don't think you're going to take Fife. So that's what's happening over here. I think the Swedish have sieged down part of Northumbria, which is now under our control. One of Flann Sinna's wives, our spy master, has come to us and told us that somebody is trying to kill another of Flann Sinna's wives, Euphemia. And she, of course, attempted to seduce us. Was it in the last episode? It was, I think. And she was also the head, the captain of Flann Sinna's elite lover bodyguard for a period of time. We must stop the villain behind this. One of our new vassals in Northumbria has created an independence faction against us. Some forces loyal to the High King are coming down, I think, to siege Fife. Actually, I don't know who they are. The Outer Hebrides, so they would be from the Isles. I'm not too sure what they're doing. But we're going to have our forces here in Ulster ready soon. And we will bring them across and either aid in sieging down Galloway or move up to Fife. We've sieged Downpatrick. We've captured a guest of the High Queen. What are our options? I think we'll bring the army across and we'll hit that army in Fife and then swing around and come back down. Poor old Hemma, literally, poor old Hemma, she's 57, which I think is around the age our father was when he just died recently. We can't ransom her. Well, we can, but all we get is a weak hook. If she was younger, we might do that. It would be handy to have somebody who might be able to join in some schemes in the court of the Duchess or the High Chiefess of Ulster. But unfortunately, we're not in that position. We could execute her. We'd get some dread, which we need to keep our prestige up. That definitely would bring our level of devotion down, and I refused to do something there recently because it would affect our level of devotion. I think yeah, we'll ransom her instead of an outright execution. Moltoli is honest, generous, and patient. So I don't see him. He's not as sadistic as. Ooh, there's a hotfix for Deep Rock Galactic. I don't see him being as tyrannical a ruler as Flann Sinna was. So Clemen's army, fair play to him, have remained behind in Galloway. They're going to continue the siege there. We're going to bring the rest of our army and our mercenaries up to attack the Outer Hebrides. Let's just see why they're fighting. So Leinster's conquest of Fife, the Manx-Irish Subjugation War, or the Brothers' War, the Second Irish Civil War, and another conquest of Fife. Which is awkward, because I don't think Fife... Oh, there is Fife, yeah, sorry. I'm getting confused now between Fife and Ayrshire. Basically, the Kingdom of Ireland, what little remains of the kingdom itself, is just being ripped apart utterly, and that's... Okay, so the guys have actually abandoned the siege in Galloway. The fool, the lunatic. The title has been destroyed. The High Kingship is gone. After... It was formed on the 30th of April 901. And after 74 years, the High Kingship has been destroyed. High Chieftain Bran has lost the Crown of Ireland. Our war continues, but I'm not entirely too sure what's actually going on anymore. What we are or aren't fighting for. This is the guy that has started a Liberty faction against us, and he is asking that we learn to speak his language. We can either hit the books, 45% chance of success, or we can hire a tutor, lose 50 gold, which would put us just ever so slightly on the bankruptcy side into negative gold, but it's not that bad. And there is a 70% chance that we will gain 100 diplomacy lifestyle, and with our poor education, earning lifestyle points this way, we really do need to try and learn to earn as many of them as we can. So we're gonna hire a tutor and hope that being 1 gold in debt doesn't do too much damage to us. So in St. Johnston, we've hit the army that was trying to take that place. Dovdaleha killed Dovdaleha. Fail Coup maimed somebody. And now a second battle begins. I'm not too sure, are we fighting 2 armies separately, or were they allied to each other or not? I thought maybe a second force was coming in. They were thinking about it. They were thinking about it. We might be able to hunt them down. They're coming in against our allies, actually. Now they're running because they know we're going to hit them. And we managed to learn Cumbrian. So while those 2 big battles were going on, Maltoli was learning a language. He's now fluent, and it should improve his relations with his vassals. Time well spent, 100 diplomacy lifestyle, and he gets 30 opinion of us. Or such a fascinating culture, I want to learn more. And we could actually adopt the culture. No. Dovdaleha wounded somebody. Dovdaleha is doing a great job. Another 47 troops are coming in against us. Oh no. And here's our attempt to befriend the new High Chieftain of Connacht. We're going to need friends. And we were finally able to spend some time alone. And looks like we have succeeded. Thank you for being a friend. Back to Galloway. So the High Chieftain of Leinster has just been captured by the former High King of Ireland during a siege in Lochgorman. What's going on down here? And my Aunt Grania was captured by Duke Ezzo, a former ally of the family. Let's see what those numbers in the battle were like. Dovdaleha, having murdered one of our other knights, he's shoving up in years. He's now 50, but his prowess is getting better and better. He's up to 23. He had 13 kills, including killing his Gaelic pagan namesake, Dovdaleha. At the second battle, he also topped the list, one ahead of Brangan again, Cahasuk, and a new knight, Constantine Line. Of course, we married some distant cousin of ours, Flann Sinna's eldest daughter off too. So they're topping the list there. And then we had another battle, again another smaller battle. There was many divided forces coming in against us, and this time Brangan led the kills. Wasn't a big battle. 10 kills to Dovdaleha at 9, and again Constantine and Cahasuk. So these are becoming the primary knights of the kingdom. Wait, what kingdom? While we're sieging down Galloway, here he is, Flann Sinna's pride and joy. He inherited his mother's intelligent trait. There's a murder plot against her at the moment. Brilliant strategist. Prowess is 11. Nothing shabby. Martial 19. He's currently serving as our steward. He has the highest martial and the highest stewardship traits in the kingdom. And had Flann Sinna lived long enough, this is the man that he would have supported for the High Kingship. And after all that, a couple of months too late, we have enough to enforce our demands. And our brother, Bran, is now our vassal. Greetings, my liege. May you live in harmony and contentment. You are a much greater foe than I imagined. In order to put an end to this bloodshed, I will comply with your demands. Signed, the High Chieftain of Ulster. So, he owns some territory that makes him our vassal, but of course he's also married to the High Chiefess of Ulster. So be it. And we're now told that there's a new war. Oh, Lord. We're involved in 2 new wars. One of them is for Fife. We're A-okay in terms of numbers. The only problem is when our mercenaries are going to leave us. And then there is a second battle for control of Fife. And interestingly enough, we're actually allied to, in both of these wars, to the High Chiefess of Ulster, who we just sieged down. Irish politics changes just like that. The first thing to deal with is the fact that we have 2 large armies that are moving south. We're going to, at the very least, move up here into Sweden, into Lanarkshire, to face this this 981 army and see if we can maybe bring some allies into these battles. So Clemens and our cousin have joined us, just as our wife Lacerina gives us a son. I'm not entirely sure how to pronounce this name. I think it's Lued or Lua, but the first part of it, L-U-G, Lu, is a reference to the sun god and the father of Cuchulainn, the mythological Irish warrior. So by the time that he comes to power, I'll have figured out how to pronounce the name properly. But, well, if he does come to power, because we could be dealing with a scenario where Maltoli doesn't take the High Kingship, and we have to try and secure it for the next generation. It'll be difficult, May you grow to be strong and wise, my son. So Clemens has rejoined us in a war, as has our cousin Trenka. And actually we can see Clemens is coming down from the north with his troops again. We have handed a bit of a bait into some forces there, and I think he's heading in the same direction for Fife. He's not, he's coming down to meet us. I'm not entirely too sure who Clemens is and isn't actually at war with. It's a convoluted scenario. I'm hoping that he's at least hostile to everybody. Another battle in St. Johnston. And there was one of the alliances that we made with one of our... we married our daughter off to like a 60-year-old man just to get some troops if they were needed. And a stranger comes to us. So there's very little that would entice us to hire her, other than the fact that we are generous and we will get 35 stress if we tell her to go away. So we will ask her to embrace God, and this will be your home. We get a lifestyle perk. We've driven those guys out of Gari. We're now in 2 separate wars. We're doing A-OK. Let's just check how the numbers went there. The champions. So we killed somebody called Ser Vertuk Makquillen. I did see somebody got killed, and I wasn't too sure, was it somebody on our side or the other side. Cian is dropping down the list a small bit. Dovdal Lehe topping the list. There's Brangen, Kahasuk, Constantine, the same names. And there was somebody on the opposition side that was killed. That's grand. Over those last 2 battles, we took 3 prisoners. Here is Folki, a lowborn. He's a berserker. He has the hail trait, 17 prowess. He's actually getting +1 from a holy site. So what we want to do is we are not going to demand his conversion. We will gain a weak hook. We will recruit him to our court, and he will serve us as a knight. These 2 individuals, nothing of any value, any value. And execute. And see if that gains some dread for Moltholi. Recent developments have really messed up the path that I was going down for Moltholi. That dread is going to help us gain more prestige, hopefully, with the firm hand. We're getting a lot of knights, so I think this is probably where we go, but I was going to continue down this direction. Because then we're into offer vassalization now. We'd have to do these 2 as well, but it would be handy, because of course when we got the High Kingship back, which we were going to do in this episode, we'd be in a position to offer vassalization and try and vassalize all the remaining areas and get the band back together. That's now gone out the window. It might make more sense to switch in this direction and try and get vassal opinion up and foreign affairs. Because we have a good chunk of knights at the moment, I think we will go for Praetorian Guard. It might be a couple of episodes before we get the High Kingship back, if we ever get the High Kingship back, and we might want to try and finish these 2 and go for that offer vassalization acceptance benefit or bonus. Things just couldn't be easy. We only have 8 knights, but they are quite an impressive list. Folki, with his 17 prowess, he's just accepted. He is our worst serving knight. We have this guy. He's one of our vassals, so he's now serving us as a knight as well. And of course we have the trio, or the trio at the top. Dovdal Lehe, Brangen and Kahasuk. And I actually think, who else was doing well? Dovthuk has been forced out. He's not good enough anymore, and then Monya is way down at the bottom, so he's not going to be becoming a knight for a long time. But yeah, we actually got some really good knights now. The former Archbishop of Ireland, Onvera, has died. He was serving us as Archbishop of Man, and we have a new bishop who endorses us. That's quite nice. That's unique. And there we go. We get that pop-up that we did not want, which is that our contract with the Manx, or with the mercenaries, is running out. That's going to be problematic for us. We have a bit of a challenge here. Vonya has been doing a great old job. Well, he's our steward, isn't he? He's offered himself again to help me gain the trust of the High Chiefess of the Isles, I believe. It is indeed. So we could become friends with him and gain 15 opinion of the High Chiefess, or we could go for this option, 57% chance that we gain 100 diplomacy lifestyle experience. And like I said, we do need to take these risks. There's a 43% chance that we will lose 5 opinion with her. Doesn't make much of a difference, or we just lose some stress. Barely have any stress. We're just a small bit stressed out because Papa died. So we will go with this one. And we lost. You win some, you lose an entire kingdom. We just might as well try and get our money's worth. I don't know if they're going to get down in time, but we're going to march our mercenaries down to attack these guys sieging Cumberland. We should be able to finish off the siege of Gary easily enough and then bring them across to attack the inner Hebrides. They're making a run for it. Out comes the sword, but I don't think they're going to hit them in time. Chieftain Brangan, who created some trouble for me in the past, has discovered that the guy who has established... I think that faction actually disbanded, but apparently he owes us more than he's been paying. It's time to right this wrong. Let's increase that feudal contract. Our allies have abandoned us. I won't say they've abandoned us, but they're moving south to assist the mercenaries. Our secondary wife has given us another son, Quillan. So yeah, we might as well. May you grow to be wise and strong, my son. So the mercenaries should hit them this time. It'd be hilarious if they just vanish halfway through. They just down tools and leave. Now we are on the verge of sieging Gary. Oh, Bran has created a Liberty faction against me. We're going to siege down Gary, but we have nowhere near enough forces to actually bring them across against the inner Hebrides. We're going to bring this war to an end. We might as well let the mercenaries... We might as well watch them. Oh god, there's a war against us. I'm not entirely too sure why this man is writing to us to tell us that he's fighting for the Isles against us. I think we always knew this. I thought this was actually the guy from Ross, because I think he's now going to switch sides. The Battle of Appleby is pretty much coming to an end. So be it. What is she attacking for? Oh my god. The Isles are trying to subjugate everything that we have. They have 4,500 troops. I'd like to say rally the troops, but the troops are already rallied. You know the old saying, when in trouble, marry off all your children. I married my 2 sons into European families here in Lothringia and Savoy. Where did I actually marry them to? Bar and Cologne. Bar was an ally of us from a couple of rulers ago. Maybe it was Flann Sinna. I think it was Flann Sinna. He may have murdered or divorced. Who knows? But Bar was definitely an ally of ours in the past. So we now have 6,600 capacity. I've also made numerous alliances in Ireland. We've actually made an alliance with Ulster, with the High Chiefess, whose husband we just took a chunk of land from. And we made an alliance with Munster, which is rather awkward because, yeah, that would have been a line of assault for us. Our brother, Grian Grafador II in Meath, refused an alliance. And I'm not too sure actually about Connacht. I have to check that out in a second. But it's the Isles and Yealand against ourselves. The good news is, I think we need about 170 gold to get more reinforcements. So we are ticking up, and it's possible that we might be able to get money together to get in mercenaries at some point in time if we need them. We do have superior numbers, but ours are going to be coming in dribs and drabs. We have 8 allies in this battle. Bar, Transjurania, Munster, Strathern, Cologne, Ulster, Leinster, and Vienne. This is actually the mother of one of our wives. I think she has about 80 soldiers. She's 143. Oh, she's moving up in the world. And just before we go into the war, remember when Ireland was the biggest name, it was spreading all across here. Now look at us. Now look at us. I'm not entirely too sure what's going on, but these are the mercenaries. They're still fighting against somebody. We're bringing down our army. I won't say to fight them or anything, but to assist if necessary. It doesn't look like it. What we're going to do is we're going to basically regroup down here and try and hit the Isles' main army, because the Isles don't have many forces. Well, there they are, 1,200. So let's see if we can regroup what allies we have here. Because if we could hit the Isles before Yealand's main forces come in, that would be great. I think the Isles is actually coming down to combat us. And here comes Yealand, 1,800 troops. Lads, come on. Seriously, now is not the time to go killing my knights. He might be Norse, just leave him alone. Let him die in battle. Folky is shoving up in years. He has a fertility penalty from being disfigured. But what I'm going to do is marry him off to one of Flann Sinna's numerous daughters, Bridget. So he has the Hale trait. She has intelligent. And hopefully, because he's lowborn, we'll make it a matrilineal marriage. And send that proposal. So we have a massive contingent of forces gathering. All of our allies are coming in, kind of. They're undecided. We're having a disco dance. I don't like this. What the hell is going on? So they're still gyrating around the place. They're making a bit better of an effort, however, to at least move towards Galloway. The Inner Hebrides is under siege. They're not in great shape, but for, what is it, 146 quid we can hire the Band of the Horn, that famous mercenary company that once upon a time controlled substantial chunks of Wales. So we're going to hire them. They appear down in Desmond, and our commander, Duftuck, has been put in charge of them because they don't have a commander of their own. And he's sailing them around. Is that something that we want? How much is it going to cost to put them out into the C8? I think it might be better. Yeah, sure. Yeah, look, it'll get them up faster. It'll get them up faster. If I'm right, Grian Grafador II has unlocked generational belligerence. Causus belli is the cost of Causus belli is decreased by 20%. Yeah, sure. I don't think it helps us in any way, make, shape, or form at the moment. The other thing, however, is that he has sent us an offer of an alliance. So if we decline, lose 25 opinion. If we accept, we enter a mutual alliance. And I think with the way things are going at the moment, we pretty much need this. My plan was maybe to go to war with him for Meath, but he has 3,000 troops. So we're going to accept. We're going to see if we can actually get him into this war immediately. He will join. He will join. So possibly we didn't need to hire all those mercenaries. We're putting together Swedish level of forces now. We have 10,000 troops. And we are going to... Well, our problem is trying to get them all in the one place. Meath is marching its forces from Dublin. It's going to take a while for them to come into the battle. The Isles have actually split their forces and sent them up north. So what we might do, while we have substantial forces here at the moment, is actually try to bring... Can we combine some of these armies? We're gonna try and bring him in against the against Arran at the very least. So in a weird roundabout way, we're bringing in forces from two sides. I think Meath is coming up, or it was at least coming up for Arran. They might get out before we hit them. They did indeed. I think all their forces are running. And what a time to get this. Norway is attempting to subjugate all of Northumberland, and you know what they're going to do. They're going to call in the Swedes. Rally the troops. With any luck, we're going to hit the Isles. With any luck, our allies will actually follow us. We've caught them. Constantine has been slain. That's a bad start. They have pretty much their full army in there. Meade is so far behind. We might have caught them a bit too early. We're bringing our forces in very slowly, very slowly. And in the midst of this battle, my mother's lunatic friend has arrived, and my mother's trying to tell us that she'd do great things for the kingdom. Mother, you're a known adulterer. I'm not taking any advice from you. Another champion of ours has been killed. I don't know what all our allies are doing. They have actually come into the battle now. We do have overwhelming numbers. There's a lot of people just standing around. It's not great. So it took a while, but we did get there. Our glory is now widely known, I'm sure it is. Let's march down and siege Argyll anyway. Big numbers from the big boys. Duldoleha with 76 kills, Brangen with 68. If we come down then, we can see, however, way down towards the bottom, Constantine. That's, how many spouses is that? That's her second knight spouse to die. Kilna was murdered, and Constantine was killed in battle. He didn't have any children. Huntfred, not entirely too sure who he is, but he's our cousin and brother-in-law. Oh, I don't know what we can or can't do here. We're bringing the army in against Argyll. I presume just try and siege it down quickly. We've put together an alliance of 9,000 troops against the Swedish, who I'd say, are they appearing? There you go. There's 5,000. The Sampi, effectively Finland, I think, have come in with them. Northumberland has been put under siege. Oh, Lord. I've offered a white peace to the Isles, which they won't accept. They're probably taking their forces and going... whereabouts are they going? Going back, I'd say probably to the Inner Hebrides. I wouldn't be surprised. There you go. They love the Inner Hebrides. They want to try and hit down their army. Duldoleha has caused a chunk of trouble. We've got 3,500, 5,000 troops on a good day, maybe. I think we don't have much of a choice but to try and bring the entire army over and hit Northumberland. Our numbers are coming in dribs and drabs. This isn't looking great. I think they have vastly superior numbers, but we're going to have a major battle here in Lothian. And 15, I don't know how many. There's our son. Never a dull moment. 1,500 troops coming in as well. We're getting some pop-ups. I think somebody is... we're getting some pop-ups. I saw something about there. One of the Ukrahur Dons. Because he's diligent, I'm going to think that we might be able to blame all our problems on him. Do you remember at the start of this episode, I said that we should all just relax and chill out? I can tell you I'm not very relaxed anymore. This battle is not going great. We are bringing in another 2,300 troops, which will bring us up to just short of 5. We seem to have a bit better of an advantage against them, however. We see 1,580 Swedish troops coming in to Northumberland. I don't think they're going to be able to get into the battle straight away. We could actually end up falling between a rock and a hard place, losing Northumberland and ending up being subjugated by the Isles and possibly stripped of all of our land. Let's see how this battle goes. So we were spot on in giving out to our chieftain. This is, of course, the guy who Flann Sinna was going to allow starve to death in his prisons. Cruel, but had to be done. I think we're turning the tide a bit against these guys. And if they don't bring in the Norwegian forces, we might actually have some good news for once. Very little time to rest on our laurels. We need to get down and hit the Swedish army straight away. Not entirely sure what we can do with our perk. Possibly we need to start heading for defensive negotiations. It's going to take 3 years before we get another perk, so we're going to start with Thoughtful. Doesn't do a whole lot for us. And before we hit the Swedish in that battle, let's look at how that dramatic battle did, or how we did in it. Dovdaleha with 90, Kian with 70, Brangen with 57. So again, big kills. We took down one of their knights at least. 2 of their knights. 3 of their knights. And of course there's a massive coalition. That's the one great thing, is that we have tons and tons of knights because there are so many armies involved in this battle. A pity that we didn't manage to kill their commander himself. I'm not entirely too sure what's going on here. Lots of people are moving around. We're going to hit the Swedish army, which is trying to retreat. And we've caught them. Lots of our people were moving away. We've gone in ahead of the main bulk of the army, which is finely joined. And we're going to need to turn around and head for the Inner Hebrides. Conal Dalbryn, or Dalburn, one of the guys from Munster, has been killed. We scored a victory against them. And now, immediately, we bring that army around and head for... Let's see if we can actually cut off... I don't think we can. Somebody's plotting to kill Anya. She's... Oh, this family. That's Dovdaleha's wife. Must stop the villain behind this. We did not get in time. They're actually turning around, which might be handy, depending on how many forces we're bringing in. They're bringing in the second army, I hope. Or our allies are going to stay. It's not looking great for us. Dovdaleha was wounded. Bringing in another 1,400 troops. I thought they were going to. My god, it's just battle after battle after battle. And we're not impacting the war score in any massive way. While we're in a pretty good position, if we can actually keep hunting down the forces from Sampi. I'm not too sure what direction they're going now. No, we're going around in a big roundabout direction. Not too sure if we're going to come in against anybody. Our allies are leaving us go forward first, which is great. Thanks a million, guys. See, I don't want them to regain numbers, but we do need to hit the Isles as well. Okay, so they've started sieging down Galloway. We're going to try and bring the army in to hit them there. And then we'll have to move up and hit the Isles. They've actually taken the Inner Hebrides and it hasn't done much damage to us. Oh, look at this. Look at what's going on here. Two massive battles. We're still winning. With any luck, it will be a substantial victory. I don't know what I'm more worried about. The Isles getting up to full capacity, or full war score, or what? So they are sieging down the Isle of Man. Seamus, another member of the Dalburn. And get everyone to follow us. Our mercenaries are leaving us again. Lovdaleha has wounded somebody. Our champion, Kuken Vohar, was slaughtered. Right. Oh, Lord. Down into our prisons, we've managed to ransom this person back to the King of Sampi for 50 gold. This guy. We can't ransom him. We gain some dread, and we will gain some dread. While those forces are broken, what we're going to try and do is hit the Isles, and by the Isles I mean the actual Isle of Man. If we can deal with the Isles, we should be in a position, oh god, what's after happening, we should be in a position to at least stop worrying about the Isles and then begin sieging down parts of Northumberland. The ransom was accepted. We've gotten 50 quid. Brangan has died from his wounds. The eldest son of Flann Sinna, who attempted to assassinate him. Brangan has died from his wounds. Which battle did he get wounded in? Who knows? A faction trying to target us has been disbanded. That was Brangan, who of course wanted Man, and we now have to go and find a new diplomat in the midst of all this. We have 2 diplomats on 12. We could give it to the guy that Flann Sinna was going to kill, but instead we're going to give it to, I think that's maybe his brother. It is indeed, Kieran. So Kieran, he's a comfort ether. His father almost became a comfort ether. He's going to become our new chancellor. And so our forces are coming across onto the Isle of Man. It looks like we'll have overwhelming numbers. The anger and rage that our forces must be experiencing at this point in time. The numbers are coming across slowly. They're coming across slowly. Oh my god, Sweden has conquered Savoy. And that's a bit of a problem for us because Sweden had not been bringing its forces into the battle up to now. And it's entirely possible that they'll be in a position to do so. Back to Cumberland. He's an utterly useless everything. Nothing we can do with him. Now that that battle has come to an end, what we'll just quickly do is take a look at all these victories just to see how things went. Even though at this stage we've been getting through them so quickly, I don't know. Is there any point? Dovdal Leha again up at the top. Battle at Hexham, Dovdal Leha. Dovdal Leha again. 74 kills for the Swedish commander. That's impressive. Here are some of our allies actually topping the list for the first time, but Dovdal Leha was our best representative. Dovdal Leha got himself wounded, and we didn't see the one there where Brangen got wounded. Well, the good news is that after that last punch in the face, we are able to white peace out of the war. It has gone on for 3 years. We're able to white peace out of the war with the Isles. So the Battle of Man, securing some bit of stability for poor Moltoli, so be it. And I think with the kingdom in some tiny way preserved, at the very least we're not going to be subjugated by the Isles. I think we might be in a position to call in another ally. I'm not too sure why she wasn't involved in that one, but that's going to bring in Ulster and a grand total of 39 soldiers. Fantastic. Oh boys, we're on the way up. Things are looking good. This is what we're dealing with at the moment. And what did I see? 1,400 troops coming up, 1,200 troops coming across. There's 7,000 Swedish troops in Savoy. They're heading for the coast. And you know where they're coming next. The Swedish coalition is at 12,000 out of a possible 23,000. And if we can start hitting them before they can bring those forces to bear, we have some chance. The other thing that I'm hoping for, our mercenaries are going to run out shortly. And we have two options. We can either rehire 300 soldiers or try to hold out and try and get enough money to bring back in. Never mind, they're not available anymore. It's going to be a month extra to try and bring in the bodyguards of Gwendolen. I don't know what to say to you people. I'd like to say thank you for joining me on this episode. I don't know. With a couple of episodes back, we had to begin preparing for the end of Flann Sinna's reign and the succession. It's entirely possible that we will lose Northumbria and that Moltoli might be the first to witness the downfall of Ireland. Because there is very little that we can do against that absolutely gigantic Swedish coalition, and if they decide that they want the island of Ireland, I don't know what we can do to stop them. Thank you very much for joining me on this episode, and I hope you will join me in the next one as we try to defend the Irish claims to Northumbria.